So, after having discussion on the political science, now we are going to start the discussion of the modern Indian history. Okay, so the first question is to consider the following events. What is the correct chronological sequence of the above events? Okay, so we have to choose the correct chronology sequence of the above events. Okay, so basically, this kind of questions are very tough to solve. Okay, because you have to remember exact date of the formation of these associations, okay, or the event. Okay, so anyway, they have given the answer C. So let us see the explanation part. So the first thing, that is the correct chronological. Okay, so the the correct chronology sequence of the four early Indian political associations is the Landlords Society at Calcutta 1838, the Bengal British Indian Society 1843, Madras Native Association 1852, and the East India Association in London 1866. The Jamindari Association, considered the first political association in the modern India, was formally established in Kolkata 1838. In 1838, okay, it was soon after renamed the Landlord Society. Its members included well-known personalities such as the Dwarkanath Tagore, founder, then Prasanna Kumar Tagore, Rajkamal Sen, and Bhavani Chandra Mitra. The primary objective of society was to promote landlords' interests through petitions to the government. It also had on its agenda the demand for reform of the judiciary, the police, and the revenue departments. Although limited in its objectives, the Landlord Society marked the beginning of organized political activity and use of constitutional agitation methods to address grievances. The British, the Bengal British Indian Society. Talking about the Bengal British India Society. So it was founded in 1843 with the object of the collection and dissemination of information relating to the actual condition of the people of British India, and to employ such other means of peaceful and lawful character as may appear calculated to secure the welfare, extend the just rights, and advance the interest of all classes of our fellow subjects. But unlike the introvert Jamindari Association representing solely the interest of the landed aristocracy, the Bengal British India Society was an organization dominated by a section of Bengal intellectuals, particularly the young Bengal group that boasted of their Western education and awareness. In 1851, both the Landlords Society and the Bengal British India Society merged into the British Indian Association. The Madras Native Association was established in 1852 in present-day Chennai, was the first Indian political association formed in the Madras Presidency. Founded by Gajula Lakshmina Resu Chetty, the MNA was the political hub of the landed gentry of the presidency, who had grievances against the company rule. The impending discussion in the British Parliament regarding company rule in India provided the impetus for the formation of the MNA. The East India Association was organized by Dadabhai Nauroji in 1866 in London to discuss the Indian question and influence public men in Bengal to promote Indian welfare. Later branches of the association were started in prominent Indian cities. It was a political advocacy group for India, comprising both British and the Indian members. It was the first political organization with members from different provinces of India. So the correct chronological order is 2431. Now let us see the next question. So question number second. Which of the following were the main objectives of the Theosophical Society? So Theosophical Society. So you have to form a universal brotherhood of the man. Yes, that is correct. Okay, then to spread Christianity in the world. Yes, that is also that is no, that is not true. Okay, because This was a kind of society which was promoting the rationality as well as scientific temperament. So this can't be. This is representing the narrow meaning. Okay. So two, I think two. If we exclude two, so one has gone, two has gone, and three has gone. So we are left with D. So D is the correct answer. Okay. So to promote the study of ancient religions and philosophies, correct? To investigate, so one, three, four, and five. To investigate the powers innate in man, to promulgate the knowledge of the essential unity of all that is, and to demonstrate that this unity is fundamental in nature. Now let us see the explanation. So the Theosophical Society was started by Madam H.P. Blavatsky and Colonel H.S. Olcott in New York in 1872 to collect and diffuse knowledge of the laws which govern the universe. In 1882, they relocated their headquarters to Adyar on the outskirts of Madras, now Chennai, in India. The society believed that a special relationship could be established between a person's soul and God through contemplation, prayer, and revelation. It accepted Hindu beliefs in reincarnation and karma and drew inspiration from the philosophy of the Upanishads, Samkhya, Yoga, and Vedanta. The mission of Theosophical Society is to serve humanity by cultivating an ever a deepening understanding and realization of ageless wisdom, a spiritual self transformation, and unity of all life. The objective of Theosophical Society, let us see the objectives. Okay, to demonstrate that the oneness of all life is a fact in nature and to form a nucleus of a universe of brotherhood. It encourages the study of ancient and modern religions, sciences, and philosophy. So, statement 3 is correct. To investigate the powers innate in man, or to promulgate the knowledge of the essential unity of all, and to demonstrate that this unity is fundamental in nature. The Theosophical Society's objective was not to spread Christianity, it aimed to promote the universal brotherhood of humanity. Now, there are certain additional information. So, in India, the Theosophical movement became popular with the election of Annie Besant as its president after the death of Olcott in 1907. Annie Besant had come to India in 1893. She laid the foundation of the Central Hindu College in Banaras in 1898, where both the Hindu religion and Western scientific subjects were taught. The college became the nucleus for the formation of Banaras Hindu University in 1916. Annie Besant also made significant contribution to the cause of women's education. Now, rules of the Theosophical Society. Uh, Theosophists rejected conversations and believed in spirit and occult mysticism. Theosophical culture played a significant role in India's Hindu resurgence, contributing to a certain degree of social unity. In addition, the Theosophists focused on caste evolution. Theosophists focused on caste evolution, untouchability, and the theory of assimilation. They really tried to render the oppressed segments appropriate to society and incorporate them. They attempted to strengthen the conditions of the socially excluded by enabling them to access conventional schooling. In this regard, Annie Besant also founded various education societies and promoted the need for modern education. Now, let us understand the impact of the Theosophical Society. So, it has provided a common denominator for the various sects and fulfill the urge of educated Hindus. However, to an average Indian, the Theosophist philosophy seemed vague and lacking a positive program. To that extent, its impact was limited to a small segment of the westernized class. Okay, now as religious revivalist, the Theosophist did not achieve much success. However, as a movement of Westerns glorifying Indian religious and philosophical tradition, it gave much needed self-respect to Indians fighting against British colonial rule. Viewed from another angle, The Theosophist also had the effect of giving a false sense of pride to the Indians in their outdated and sometimes backwards looking traditions and philosophy. Now we have question number third, which is consider the following statement about Pandit Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. Struggle in favor of widow remarriage, yes, that is true. Oppose child marriage and polygamy, yes, that is also true. Campaign in favor of education of women, yes, true. Evolve a new technique of teaching Sanskrit, yes. And a modern prose style in Bengali, correct. Became the principal of the Sanskrit College at Calcutta and admitted non-Brahmin students into it. That is also true. So all of them are correct. Now let us see the explanation. Ishwachan Vidyasagar was an Indian educator and social reformer considered the father of Bengali prose. Father of Bengali prose. Vidyasagar's ideas were a blend of Indian and Western thought. He believed in high moral values, was a deep humanist, and was generous to the poor. Vidyasagar was well read in English literature and was influenced by Western ideas. Although an orthodox high caste Brahmin, he took a leading part in social reform movements, notably a successful campaign to legalize a remarriage of widows, many of whom had been married off as children. He opposed child marriage and polygamy and did much to promote the education of girls, but his reforming zeal met with much opposition from Orthodox Hindus. So statement 2 is correct. As government inspector of schools, he helped organize 35 girls school, many of which he ran at his own expense. As at as secretary of a Bethune school established in 1849, he was one of the pioneers of the higher education for women in India. In 1850, he became the principal of the Sanskrit College. He was determined to break the priestly monopoly of he was determined to break the priestly monopoly of scriptural knowledge, and for this he opened the Sanskrit College to non-Brahmins. So, statement 5 is correct. He introduced Western thought in Sanskrit College to break self-imposed isolation of Sanskritic learning. As an academician, he developed a new methodology to teach Sanskrit. He also devised a new Bengali primer and evolved a new prose style. So statement 4 is correct. Now additional information from the Ishwarchan Vidyasagar. Vidyasagar followed in the great reformist tradition of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and argue on the basis of sculptures and all commentaries in favor of the remarriages of widows in the same way as they did for the abolition of sati. In January and October 1855, Vidyasagar wrote his two famous tracts on the marriage of Hindu widows, basing his argument entirely on reason and logic, showing that there was no publication on widows remarrying in the entire body of Smriti literature, the Sutras and Shastras. On 14 October 1855, Vidyasagar presented a petition to the government of India praying for early consideration of the property of passing a law as an act to remove all obstacles to the marriage of Hindu widows and to declare the issue of all such marriages to be legitimate. On 16 July 1856, the Hindu Widows Remarriage Act, known as Act 15, was passed. Inspired by Vidyasagar, a number of literary men produced dramas advocating the remarriage of widows both in Bengal and elsewhere. Next question, question number 14. Which initiative was launched by the Ministry of Panchayati Raj to strengthen the leadership capacity of women elected representatives in Panchayati Raj institution? So it is Nai Rosni, not Muskan initiative, not Sodhar Grey scheme, not. So it is a Sasakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan. So what is this? Now let us see one by one. Okay. So Nai Rosni is a leadership development program for minority women 18 to 65 years, implemented by the Ministry of Minority Affairs. It is a 6-day non-residential 5-day residential training program conducted for women belonging to minority community between the ages of 18 and 65. The training modules cover areas related to programs for women such as health and hygiene, legal rights of women, financial literacy, digital literacy, Swachh Bharat life skills, and advocacy for social and behavioral changes. The scheme was implemented through program implementing agencies. Uh, now the scheme has been merged with PM Vikas as component. So option A is not correct. Now Muskan. Muskan is an initiative under the Ministry of Health and Family that aims to ensure the provision of quality child-friendly services in public health facilities to reduce preventable newborn and child morbidity and mortality. To the objectives of the new initiative are to reduce preventable mortality and morbidity among children below 12 years of age, to enhance quality of care as per national quality assurance standards, to provide child-friendly services to newborns and children in a human and supportive environment, to enhance satisfaction of mothers and families seeking healthcare for their child, etc. The Ministry of Women and Child Development is implementing the Swadhar Grihe scheme, which targets the women victims of difficult circumstances who are in need of institutional support for rehabilitation, so that they can lead their lives with dignity. The scheme envisages providing shelter, food, clothing, and health, as well as economic and social security for these women. So, she is not now, Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan launched by Ministry of Panchayati Raj is a capacity building program to empower women elected representatives in Panchayati Raj institutions. It aims to curb the Sarpanch Pati practice by strengthening women's leadership and decision making roles in local governments. The program includes training on leadership and legal rights, uh, primer covering laws on domestic violence, child marriage, abuse, workplace harassment, trafficking, and cyber crimes. Felicitation of understanding women leaders from various panchayats. It focuses on making governance more inclusive and women led at the grassroots level. So option D is correct. Now the famous Kundra Proclamation, which openly called for taking up arms against the British to oust them from the native soil, is associated with which of the following? So this is Diwan Belut Thampi's revolt. Now what is this? Let us see. So the Momriya's revolt in Assam was a major challenge to the Ahom kings. The Momriyas were the low caste peasants following the teachings of Aniruddha Deva. Their uprising weakened the Ahom kingdom, encouraging other revolts such as in 1792 by the king of Tarang with the. Let us leave this. Not much important thing. Now, women organizations and their founders. These are the important things. Okay, so let us see. So only two of them are correct. Let us see the explanation. So the National Council of Women in India, a national branch of the International Council of Women, was formed in 1925. Mary White Tata played a vital role in its formation and advancement. She opined that the Parda system, caste differences, lack of education prevented women from working to solve societal problems. Notable leaders on its exclusive committee are as follows: Carnegie Sabaji, India's first women barrister; Tarabai Premchand, wife of a wealthy banker; Safi Taibji from a leading Muslim family of Bombay; and Maharani Suchuru Devi, daughter of former Keshav Chand, daughter of reformer Keshav Chandra Singh. Now, now Pandita Ramabai Saraswati founded the Arya Mahila Samaj to serve the cause of women. She pleaded for improvement in the education system of Indian women before the English Education Commission, which was referred to Queen Victoria. This resulted in medical education for women, which is started in Lady Dufferin College. Subsequently, Ramabai Ranade carried forward this mission by founding a branch of the Arya Mahila Samaj in Bombay. Ramabai Ranade founded the Ladies Social Conference Bharat Mahila Parishad under the parent organization National Social Conference in 1804 in Bombay. In 1881, she participated in the meetings of Pratna Samaj. She was active in the campaign for women's franchise in India and drew attention to the plight of women Indian laborers in the Fiji Islands. In 1904 to 1908, franchise in India and drew attention to the plight of Indian laborers in the Fiji Islands. Now, Sarla Devi Chaudhary convened the first meeting of the Bharat Stri Mahamandalam in Allahabad in 1910. It is considered the first major Indian women's organization set up by a woman. Its objectives included the promotion of education for women, the evolution of birth system, and the improvement in socio-economic and political status of women all over India. Sarla Devi believed that the men working for women's upliftment lived under the shade of Manu. Now, women's organization, let us see. So, All India Women's Conference, founded in 1927 by Margaret Cousins, first conference at Ferguson College, Pune, first major women's organization in India with an egalitarian approach. First, Persian Maharani Chimna Bai Gaikwar of Roda, first secretary Margaret Cousins, key founding members Maharani Chimmabai Gaikwar, Rani Sahiba of Sangli. So these are the things. Objective upliftment of women and children, promote education for women at all levels, build a society based on social justice, equality, and equal rights for both sexes, ensure that access to life's necessary is based on social planning, not birth or gender. Now these are the things you can see. Okay. Next question. In which of the following places did the Dutch establish factories in India? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them. So Machilipatnam, Kochi, Balasore, Surat, Kasim Bazar, and Karaikal. Now let us see the explanation. The Dutch East India Company was formed in 1602 through a charter. The Dutch were primarily interested in spice trade, therefore they paid more attention to the Far East. India was just a trading depot for them. They established their first factory at Petapuli in North Coromandel in 1606. Okay, so now Portuguese in India, English in India. Portuguese Pedro Alvares Cabral undertook a voyage to try to trade for spices, negotiating and establishing a factory at Calicut, where he arrived in September 1500. There was an incident of conflict when the Portuguese factory at Calicut was attacked by the locals, resulting in the death of several Portuguese. Vasco da Gama set up trading factory at the Cananore. Gradually, Calicut, Cananore, and Cochin became the important trade centers of the Portuguese. Under the pretext of protecting the factories and their trading activities, the Portuguese got permission to fortify these centers. Now, English Captain Hawkins arrived in the port of Jharkhand in April 1609 with the mission to establish a factory at Surat fell due to opposition from the Portuguese, and Hawkins left Agra in November 1611. In 1611, English began trading at Machilipatnam on the southeastern coast of India, and it established a factory there in 1616. 1620, a permanent factory of the East India Company is established at Surat. Okay, all this. So we are stopping here.